In the high stakes world of executive leadership, workplace stress is not just a mindset problem. It is a biological event. When pressure rises, your brain does not politely stay rational. It shifts into survival mode. And for women in leadership, that shift can happen more often. You are not only responsible for performance, metrics, and strategy, you are also navigating invisible labor, emotional regulation, bias, scrutiny, and high expectations. That cumulative load activates very old neural circuits. Under acute stress, the amygdala, your brain's threat detector, becomes more reactive. At the same time, the prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for executive function, planning, impulse control, and strategic thinking, becomes less efficient. Neuroscience research shows that stress chemistry weakens top down regulation from the prefrontal cortex and strengthens more reflexive emotional circuits. That is why, in the middle of a tense meeting, you might suddenly forget what you were about to say. You might over explain, you might people please, you might snap, or you might freeze. This is not weakness, it is wiring. The American Psychological Association reports that a majority of workers experience work related stress monthly, and Gallup data consistently shows high day to day stress among working women. When stress becomes chronic, it contributes to what researchers call allostatic load, the wear and tear on the body from repeated stress activation. Long working hours, especially above 55 hours per week, have been linked in large WHO and ILO analyses to increased risk of stroke and ischemic heart disease. So, calming your brain fast is not indulgent, it is leadership capacity protection. Let's walk through 5 evidence based ways to calm your brain quickly in the middle of real leadership moments. The first is diaphragmatic breathing. Your autonomic nervous system has two primary modes, fight or flight and rest and regulate. The vagus nerve is a major pathway of the parasympathetic system. When you slow your breathing, especially when you lengthen the exhale, you send a bottom up signal of safety to your brain. Studies published in journals such as Frontiers in Psychology show that slow breathing can reduce cortisol and improve sustained attention. Slow breathing around 6 breaths per minute has been associated with improved heart rate variability, which reflects better stress regulation capacity. Here's what you do: inhale through your nose for 4 seconds, exhale slowly for 6 to 8 seconds. Repeat for 6 cycles. This takes less than 90 seconds. Now imagine this scenario. You are presenting to senior leadership. Someone interrupts you sharply and says, "That assumption seems flawed." You feel your chest tighten. Before responding, inhale for 4, exhale for 8. Then say, "That's a fair question. Let me clarify the assumption," and then walk through the data behind it. That longer exhale gives your prefrontal cortex time to re engage. It keeps you strategic rather than reactive. The second tool is affect labeling. Research in affect labeling shows that putting feelings into words can reduce amygdala activation and increase prefrontal engagement. When you name an emotion, you transform vague threat into defined information. Silently say, "This is stress," or "This is embarrassment," or "This is frustration." Then add, "The story I'm telling myself is that I look unprepared. The fact I know is that I reviewed the data thoroughly." Picture this situation. A colleague says publicly, "We already covered that. Were you not included?" Heat rises in your face. Silently label, "This is embarrassment and threat." Then respond calmly, "I want to make sure we're aligned. I did not receive that update. Can you forward it after the meeting?" For now, based on the data we have, here's my recommendation. You regulated your nervous system and protected your authority. The third strategy is cognitive reappraisal. Functional MRI studies show that when people consciously reframe a stressful situation, activity increases in the prefrontal cortex and decreases in the amygdala. You are using higher order cognition to reinterpret threat. Ask yourself 2 questions. What is my brain warning me about right now? What else could be true? Instead of, "This presentation could damage my reputation," shift to, "This is an opportunity to clarify my vision and demonstrate rigor." Or instead of, "They are attacking me," try, "They are pushing for clarity." Now imagine someone says, "That plan makes no financial sense." Your stress response wants to defend. Reappraise, This is a request for deeper analysis, not a verdict on my competence. Then say, let's walk through the assumptions together. If this variable changes, here's how the outcome shifts. You move from defensiveness to leadership. The fourth technique is somatic release. Your brain and body exist in a feedback loop. If your jaw is clenched and your shoulders are tight, your brain continues to read the environment as unsafe. Progressive muscle relaxation has been shown in clinical trials to reduce anxiety and improve sleep in high stress populations. In a meeting, press your feet into the floor for 5 seconds and release. Roll your shoulders slowly. Unclench your jaw. Let your tongue rest gently in the bottom of your mouth. You do not need anyone to know you are doing this. After a tense one on one conversation, instead of sitting frozen at your desk replaying it, stand up. Walk briskly for 90 seconds. Pair it with a phrase like, not an emergency, or I lead best when I slow down. Stress chemistry is designed for motion. Micro movement helps metabolize it. The fifth tool is grounding and attention shifting. When you ruminate, your brain's default mode network stays active, replaying threat narratives. Research suggests that exposure to natural environments can reduce rumination and alter neural activity in regions associated with repetitive negative thought. You do not need a forest. You need a shift in input. Look out a window for 60 seconds. Notice the sky, trees, or even light patterns. Then choose one concrete task and take action. Send the clarifying email. Draft the first 2 lines of the report. Stress thrives on ambiguity. Specific action reduces perceived threat. For example, after a meeting, you keep thinking, did I sound incompetent? Look outside for 60 seconds. Then write one leadership anchor sentence. My role is clarity. I can refine the message without attacking myself. That shifts your brain from rumination to agency. Now let's layer in language that supports regulation. When you are interrupted, say, I'm going to finish this thought, then I'll come to you. When someone escalates, say, let's slow this down and define the decision we're making. When you need time, instead of reacting, say, I want to respond thoughtfully. I'll get back to you by 3 p.m. These phrases reduce ambiguity and buy cognitive space. It is also critical to recognize that workplace stress is not only personal. If your culture normalizes constant urgency, unclear expectations, and invisible emotional labor, your nervous system will keep reading threat. Organizational design matters, but even within imperfect systems, your physiology is influence. Research on emotional contagion suggests that team members unconsciously mirror the emotional states of leaders. When you regulate your nervous system, you increase psychological safety. You make it easier for your team's prefrontal cortex to stay online. Chronic workplace stress is not a badge of honor. It is a biological signal. You do not need a silent retreat to change your brain. You need micro interventions practiced consistently. 90 seconds of longer exhales, 20 seconds of naming the feeling, 60 seconds of reframing, 2 minutes of movement, 1 minute of grounding. Leadership is not only about strategy, it is about state. And when you calm your brain fast, you protect not only your health, but your clarity, your credibility, and your capacity to lead with strength. Make sure to like, subscribe, and grab my free leadership workbook, 5 Steps to Communicate with Calm, Clarity, and Confidence at powerofpeacefulness.com. Until next time, take a deep breath, embrace the present moment, and keep walking your path to peace.